Hello and welcome to an episode of Atomic Vinyl Reviews. My name's Jacob and today got a quick little unboxing for you guys. So we have another package from Singapore. I did recently have a package from Singapore from the very same seller, and what we have in here is actually one of the figures which was on their site, because they're an eBay seller, and it was on their site when I bought this guy here, which is the Marmit Gigan, and the Marmit Gigan Final Wars variant. So they did have a couple of other Marmit figures. Most of them were very, very expensive, but there was just this one other one which I was on the fence about getting. And as time went on, I just realized I freaking need this thing. It just looked way too awesome. So I ended up splurging a bit, and yeah, now it's here. So, just gonna slice this open. So, I don't know a whole bunch about Marmit, or I think they're also associated with Medicom figures, I'm not sure. But basically they make these really sort of stylized, very toy-like, vinyl sofubi type figures, but they're like very fancy. They're like these sort of very artsy figures of, you know, a whole bunch of stuff, especially including kaiju Godzilla related figures. And today we've got a whole bunch of bubble wrap, but under it we got this dude here. Anything else? Just bubble wrap. You can chuck all that back in there, get rid of the box. Sweet. This is a 2003, I believe. I think it's from Tokyo SOS Godzilla, which is a really unique, very cool design. And it's done in Marmit form, so let's take a look. Okay. I already have one other Marmit Godzilla, also a Millennium Godzilla, that being Godzilla 2000 Millennium, done in this dashing, very, very dashing metallic blue. I absolutely adore this thing, and I'm really keen to see how this guy here will compare. So yeah, I was almost gonna buy this guy with these other figures, and in retrospective I should have done it, but I guess I was trying to be wise and hold off, but I couldn't resist. Here he is. Oh, that is sweet. Yeah, this is the 2003 variant. You can tell because he's got the scar on his chest. He's done in this almost jet black color, but it's slightly sort of, is it reddish? Maybe it's got a little reddish tinge to it, and it's slightly metallic again with the nice airbrushing across the spines. And I don't know why, there's just something about these Marmit figures that's just so freaking beautiful. Again, they're done in this really sort of stylized toy-like aesthetic, so they look kind of like vintage toys, but they're done in this really sort of artsy way. I don't know how to describe it, but this thing is beautiful. Let's see, yeah, Gojira 2003 Marmit, Toho Co Ltd, all that cool stuff. Oh, the face on this thing, just the sculpt, it's just so... Oh, here, let me show you guys. Just look at this thing. He is so dashing. Oh, I love the gold blotted out eyes. So he doesn't have pupils, but I think it really works for this figure. Very simple paint job, but the kind of the shininess of the paint works really well with the sculpt. It brings out all the scales, and he's got those classic Millennium era really jagged spines, which look great on this figure. Oh, I love this thing. Look at that! So Marmit figures, they're freaking pricey as hell. This guy was pricey as hell too, but he was sort of on the lower end of the super pricey as hell Marmit figure prices, so I feel pretty happy actually with this guy, having him in hand. Unlike some of the other figures, in particular the big Final Wars Gigan, this guy here has a slightly tacky paint job, and what I mean by that is he's not tacky. The paint actually feels like it's a little bit sticky in some places. It's less so now than when I initially got him, but still, this guy, he actually feels really nice. The paint on him feels really, you know, no tackiness at all. He feels really clean, really new feeling, actually. Beautiful, just a really nice hard vinyl. This is a nice solid feeling figure as well, which I really adore. Got that nice detail work on his chest there, nice highlight in gold. I love how they utilize metallic colors in these figures, which is really cool. Actually, are his teeth metallic? Yeah, they're silver. Silver teeth, golden eyes, silver spines, claws also airbrushed in silver. This guy's really, really pretty. He really stands out. Ah, just look at that. I just love the dimensions of this thing. Sort of very shorter tail, but I think it really fits this kind of a figure. That is gorgeous. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I'll bring in the Gigan figure, which we saw last time, which has become one of my all-time favorite figures in my collection. Again, it's simplified. It's just made really elegant, really beautiful. Marmit Gigan next to our Marmit 2003 Godzilla. Very beautiful. Unfortunately, this guy didn't come with a tag or a bag. These should come with these bags. This is the one which came with the 2000 Godzilla. I also got that one second-hand. I got all my Marmit figures second-hand, so none of them came with the actual bag, but that one did come with the little tag. So that's lucky. I can actually bring him in. And I gotta say, I'm actually liking the 2003 one a little bit more now than the 2000 one. I was always a big fan of this one, because again, he's got a lovely, really, really sort of how do I put it, expressive sculpt to him, especially around the face and the neck, and just again those really jagged Millennium era spines. They look so cool. They just look great together. Actually, they both got really similar proportions, but I kind of like this guy from the front a bit more. This guy's legs seem a bit weird looking, but this guy has a bit more of a slimmed down legs, and they kind of sit a little bit better. So I like the look of that. Yeah, really cool. And what else can we compare this guy to? Again, I can bring in the big Final Wars Gigan from Marmit. This guy is my biggest Marmit figure just because the Final Wars Gigan is really crazy looking, especially the chainsaw variant, which this is. Although he's the least sort of stylized of all these figures. He's the most sort of screen accurate, to be honest. Still a phenomenal figure. I really dig this thing. Look at that. So they do kind of scale. Gigan's usually pretty big. So there you go, nice comparison between them two. Lastly, I wanted to bring in this, I think it's 8-inch scale Bandai vinyl of the 2003 Godzilla. So this guy's actually fairly screen accurate. There you go. I love these really big Bandai vinyls, because compared to, you know, your typical smaller 6-inch ones, these are really big. And this just has a whole bunch of details, and it's really well detailed. Very accurate to how he looked in the movie. Has that more like wolf-like face, which is kind of what I would describe this Godzilla as having. His face was always a little bit weird looking, but really iconic, really cool. Didn't have much in terms of personality compared to most Godzillas, but he still had a really cool design to him. And we can compare these two figures. So this one, again, much bigger head, shorter tail, slightly different posture. I actually really like this stylized design of the bigger heads and stuff like that. I think the proportions look really cool on this thing. Because in the Godzilla series, for whatever reason, a lot of the newer ones, they tend to shrink his head a lot. I think it's to make the rest of the body feel really massive. But I was never a huge fan of that. I actually kind of like the more Showa era style designs with the more well-proportioned head, like this guy here kind of has. That's a really cool little comparison. You got the more stylized one and the more accurate one, and they scale really similar actually. Very nice. So I wanted to make this unboxing a real quick one today because I actually have something really special just off camera that I actually want to dive right into right now, because this is kind of the only time I can do it. So I'm gonna have to rush this little video, but I might do a separate video on this guy. Probably not, but if you guys are keen for that, I'll be open to doing that in more depth. But just before we close out, I'll do a nice, really close look at this figure so you guys can really get a good sense of what he looks like. Isn't he just fantastic looking? I mean, look at that. Very, very pretty. Very nice glossy paintwork to him. Usually I prefer matte paint on figures, but that's when they're more realistic. This guy is very stylized, and this glossy paint really works for him. He's got his spines. Got him real beautiful. Around the back there. These Marmit figures are getting really addictive. Like, first it was Monstrats figures, then X Plus, then YMSF figures. They're all getting really addictive, and now I'm starting to get into Marmit. It's not good, guys. All of these are rabbit holes you can just dive headfirst into, because there's so many cool figures out there of these things. Ah, isn't that sweet? This little tail. Really, feels really nice. This figure is just really lovely to handle because he feels really solid. The plastic has almost no give to it. It does have a bit of articulation, by the way, but it's really just more like a slight kick up and down, and his arms move back and forth, you know. I don't really consider these articulated figures, even though technically they are. But they do have some, and of course his tail has that like little spin, but that's more just where they join the tail on rather than actually, you know, swiveling. And under his feet, we'll take a look. What does that say? It says Gojira, trademark 2003 Toho Co Ltd, and we have Marmit 2003. There we go. I wonder if this one actually came out in 2003, because it does say 2003 there and here. So maybe it was made in 2003, the same year the film came out. That'd be pretty sick if it was. But it's hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes the dates on these figures are the year of the movie that the Godzilla design comes out. Sometimes they're the year the figures are made. Nonetheless, beautiful, beautiful little figure. Actually kind of a chunky figure. These Marmit ones are quite nicely sized at about 8 inches tall. Maybe almost 20 centimeters tall, thereabouts. So they're real cool. So yeah, guys, this is my quick little unboxing of this 2003 Godzilla from Marmit. I love this thing. This Tokyo SOS design is brought to life brilliantly by these guys. I think it's really handsome, really dashing. Yeah, I just love these things. These stylized figures are so cool. So, that is it for this video. I've got a mega unboxing to do, because I have my pile of loot from Big Bad Toy Store arrived today, and it's less of a pile and more of a mountain. So I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm really keen to just tear the box open, and yeah, so I'm going to film that now. But I'm going to put away this handsome little boy and get to that, but hopefully you guys will see my next video, and I hope to see you guys there. But till then, may your vinyl be a radiated vinyl. Over and out. Bye.